The gentleman you have just heard from is my colleague Nikhil Gokhale, Director of Research and Digital Properties for IBS Intelligence. I'm Robin Amlot, Managing Editor of IBS Intelligence, and we are here to talk about the Global FinTech Innovation Awards. Now entering their 6th year, and it's now time for you to be entering the awards. Why? What are they for? What's it worth to you? What's it worth to the world of fintech? This is what we're going to explore. So, Nikhil, the Global FinTech Innovation Awards. An overview to begin with, if you please.
Sure, happy to, and thanks for the question. Thanks to everyone who has joined in. Global FinTech Innovation Awards, what are they all about? Let me take a step back, Robin. It was back in 2013 that Mr. Antonio Benjamin, who is the CTO of Citibank, he famously described Citi as a technology company which happened to be in the banking industry. So they were calling themselves a tech company. The CFO of JP Morgan soon followed in 2016, and the CEO of ING followed in, saying the same exact thing in 2017. Right? Back then, it seemed like a very novel way of viewing things, and you're positioning yourself as someone who's leader in technology. But fast forward to today, and the lines between banking and technology are blurring to such an extent that we can now see, we can do a bank in a box, so banking as a service, banking as a platform. You have fintechs, paytechs, and lendtechs, and neobanks, and digital only banks and whatnot, right? So the bottom line is that banking and technology the lines have started to blur. What was said earlier, which was seen as very novel, which has become a big reality today. Technology companies and banks, they are a marriage made in heaven. And that's exactly what we are trying to do with the Global FinTech Innovation Awards. We're trying to uncover and really celebrate the most innovative uses of technology in the financial services industry. And in a nutshell, that's what the Global FinTech Innovation Awards is all about.
Okay, it's interesting to me that you use the examples of banks saying, well, we're actually tech businesses. And those quotes go back to the 2010s. I could take you back even further to a point where Microsoft was talking about buying a bank, and Bill Gates was still in charge of Microsoft at the time, and he was talking about buying a bank. Now, of course, the tech firms don't need to buy banks. They're taking bank services on board through what you just described, the banking as a service solutions, the embedded finance solutions. But what do I get? Why should I participate in the awards? I'm a fintech. I'm very busy. I'm trying to make my way in the world. I'm trying to build my business. What do I get from participating in the awards?
Absolutely. A very, very relevant question. If you're going to spend 30, 40, 50 minutes on applying for the nomination, which I would dare say, is the amount of time it would take to complete the submission form. So it's not a trivial amount of time, right? So why should you participate, right? We are in the 6th year of the awards. It's gained true global recognition. Over the past 5 years, we have probably evaluated more than 1,000 submissions. So essentially what we're saying is 1,000 implementations by fintechs. And when I say fintechs, I'm not only referring to the startups, but also the financial technology companies, right? So which is the large tech companies as well. So, more than 1,000 submissions is what we evaluated. So, if I were to say it's 1,000 into 30 minutes, so that's roughly about 500 hours of effort that our submitters have put in, and we take that very seriously, right? So we make sure that everything that we do while we do the assessment and right everything that we do for the awards is meticulous, is something that we take very seriously. uh, Out of the 1,000 submissions, I would say we had close to 250 winners. So we looked at 250 successful implementations across 30 different categories, and these categories span, the innovative uses of, it could be the classical core banking and digital banking and payment type of systems, but also the innovative technologies itself, right? So talking about, let's say, simple, something as simple as digital onboarding, right? So these, we looked at 30 different types of categories where technology companies and banks can nominate, and you will, if you do, you will join a, a long list of very renowned companies, right from the large, 10 billion and upward type of tech companies to the startups as well, who have done just a few handful of implementations, but some really solid, interesting stuff. So you're going to join the ranks of some very successful companies, and if you go to our website, IBS Intelligence, you will see a longer list of who has participated in the past. Um, and I think I would say the same thing goes for financial institutions. 5 of the top 10 banks in the UK and Europe, they have participated. We have very fast-growing digital-only banks in the Middle East who have been participants. We have public sector banks in the Far East who have participated. Challenger banks and the small banks, wealth providers in US, North America, Latin America. They have participated. We've seen some very interesting fintechs in Africa. I do want to point it out because that's something that we've seen in the recent past, in the last year or two, where we've just seen technology transforming people's lives in Africa, right? So a truly global award, and that's what you get when you participate. You get global recognition to your innovation, and it helps demonstrate your commitment really to innovation and making a difference to the lives of your shareholders and your customers.
Well, I have a question here that says, what if I believe my good work will speak for itself without the need for awards? Well, if you believe that, you're a nut job, is the short answer, because it's not true. You need external validation. You need external validation for the morale of your troops internally in the business. You need external validation because it is a great way of telling your success story. Is there anything you'd like to add to the argument I'm putting forward, Nikhil, about the importance of entering awards?
Um, uh, Robin, you said it well. I think external validation very important. But I would give it just top of mind, right? The first thing when I saw this question here, that came to mind is nowadays in this day and age that we live in, right? you know uh, Criticism is often very loud. It tends to get amplified, and appreciation, it kind of goes unheard, right? And put it in other words, it's like saying bad news, it spreads like wildfire, and it lingers long after it's done, and good news is just forgotten the next day. In fact, I would say I had read somewhere that you need at least 10 to 12 positive reviews if you want to counterbalance one negative feedback that you could get, right? I know it's unfair, but I think that's how the world works, and that's the truth. You look back at yourself, and you would also be, you may tend to talk, more often if you did not have a good experience, right? So I think there is truth in that. It may not be fair. It may sound that, oh, that's not fair, but that's the truth. And part of the reason why we do the Global FinTech Innovation Awards is we want to celebrate the good news. Right? I think that's important. You said internal morale of your troops, very important again. It's external validation, making sure that it's someone else. It's not just you who's going to go down and beat up your chest and say that we are the best, but really, it's someone else saying that, okay, we have evaluated 20 or 30 similar implementations, and we do believe that you are in the top, right? So that's how I would respond to the question that you asked me.
So who are we looking for to enter the awards? Who do we want to participate? Who should participate?
Absolutely. As always, it should always be a combination. So what we are looking at, as I said, we are trying to unearth successful implementations or innovative uses of technology at financial institutions. So the call for the GFI Global FinTech Innovation Awards is to all technology companies. You could be a small company, you could be a large company, you could be a product company, or you could be a services company. Essentially, if you provide technology solutions and services to financial institutions, right? And when I say financial institutions, it could be, again, a long list. It could be banks, digital only banks. It could be traditional banks, conventional banks. In some places we have payments banks. You could be a small institution, could be a non-banking financial institution. So starting from banks to insurance companies to asset managers, to even at some cases where the startups who are, for example, providing cross-border payments, just remittances. So as long as you are providing a function or a service that is related to banking as a whole, or moving money, uh, these are the people who can participate. So on one side, it should be a tech company. On the other side, it should be a financial institution. And it should always be a joint application, right? Unless, of course, if at a financial institution, it's in-house technology development. But otherwise, you should have a joint nomination where you're a financial institution plus a technology company, how they got together and created a great tech implementation that we want to know, right? And just a couple of quick caveats. We do expect the project to be live, right? So it's not something that it's ongoing. The project should be live. It could be live as a soft launch, maybe friends and family launch. That's still accepted. If it's gone live before June of 2024, it's accepted. It should not be older than 2 years, and it should not be something that you have previously submitted, right? We're not going to give you a award once again if you already submitted. And if you unfortunately were not a winner last year, but still you have already submitted to GFIA, we will not accept the same nomination.
I think the
So
clue is in the
that's
word
what
innovation, isn't it? The clue is
I
in the
think.
word
So I think
innovation.
it's something how to do a successful, innovative implementation of technology.
So there is one other thing that people need to remember, and it's what the old television advertisements always used to say when they were trailing high-cost phone line calls. Get your parents' permission. Software suppliers and service providers need to get prior permission from the bank or financial institution that they're nominating with before participating in the awards, and indeed vice versa. This is a joint issue that people need to be aware of. Make sure that the other party is on board.
Oh, absolutely right. Again, what we are doing is we are making sure that the benefit, all the entries that you submit with us, would have the contact information as one of the requirements. Of course, again, it will be confidential. It will not be shared outside. The contact information, the name of the person will not be shared beyond IBS intelligence. But really, we expect the information to be there and consent to be there, because at the end of the day, if you're a winner, you want to talk about it. You want to tell the whole world. You want to share the good news to the world. And if you don't have approval and consent, you won't be able to do that, right? So yeah, I think that's important to get prior consent before you submit. I do have a exception, but I'll talk to you about that exception in a bit. Let's agree to park that one.
Well, that might actually come up in our next question in the discussion of what we're going to talk about now, because so far we've talked about the awards, we've talked about why you should enter them, we've talked about who should enter them. What happens when you have entered them? So I filled in my awards entry form, I've sent my awards entry form off. What happens to it? What's the evaluation process? What do you do to decide who's the top dog in whichever field?
I think that's one of the most important questions that should be asked, and I'm happy that it is asked. So if I said that you probably spend 30 minutes in completing the submission, rest assured we probably spend double that amount in reading and evaluating each of the submissions. What our analysts looking for? I would break it down into four things, right? What was the program vision? How bold was your program vision? What did you set out to achieve? At the time of implementation, what kind of best practices were used? What kind of tools were adopted? What was the kind of implementation times you were looking at? Did you have any challenges, and how did you overcome them? So that's the second bit that you're looking at in terms of how well was it implemented. Of course, the benefits achieved. What was the customer impact is what we want to look at. It should be qualitative. It should be quantitative. Both are important. It's not just I remember once saying that every subjective parameter has to have some objectivity, and every objective parameter needs some subjectivity, right? So I think it's important to have both sides of the coin. And of course, at the end of the day, overall, the implementation excellence, right? So the other four parameters that we're looking for when we are doing the analysis, to make sure that we are rigorous in the process, we have two panels doing every entry. So I just said it probably take 30 minutes to 45 minutes per panel. So you multiply that by two. So we have two panels doing analyzing every entry across these parameters. If the deviation between the scores of these two panels is higher than X amount, we will get in a third panel to do evaluation, right? So to just make sure that none of the panel analysis is biased, or it's really comparing apples to apples. And finally, we take the entire Excel sheet, which by the time it's a very long and a very broad Excel sheet. We take it to the governance board. It's comprised of the senior partners in the CEDAR and IBS Intelligence both. We get grilled by them, and trust me, sometimes I almost feel that external grilling would have been easier than internal one. And after a lot of back and forth, where we also end up going back to the submitters for, oh, can you tell us a little bit more about what you meant here, or what you give us some more information there. So it takes time. Yeah, I would say I anyway budget 4 to 6 weeks to do that, and that's the evaluation process, and it's something that we take very seriously.
I'm glad to hear it, because it is a serious matter. And on to another serious matter, the cost of all this. What's it going to cost me to enter? What do I have to stump up?
No, I think again, this is a celebration point, and what we always want to tell the whole world is there's no cost involved for participating.
Sorry, can I stop you there, Nikhil?
Yes.
Can you say that again?
Yes, you heard it right. There's no cost for participation, and that's it. We it's not something that you have to like swipe your card and you have the online form. Please go there and do your submission. We do, of course, as I said, we have a media package that for our winners who want to amplify their achievement. Again, the whole objective is the whole objective of GFIA is to amplify your good news. So we do offer things like a digital badge if you're a winner. We promote your win via our social media handles, tell the whole world about your win. But again, just to reiterate, media package is optional and does not influence your chances of winning. Either
Say
way.
it again. Right? Say it. Let me hear it. Let me hear it again.
Absolutely, participation there's no cost of participation. We have a media package, but that is optional and does not influence your chances of winning in any way.
All right, let's sum up. Quickfire round. When are the awards going to be announced? When will we know who has won?
The announcement, the grand announcement, will be done on November 22nd.
And the deadline for submissions?
That would be in a big gala ceremony that we will be, doing, with all the drum rolls and all the pictures and social media all around.
And deadline for submissions?
September 10th. That is less than maybe 3 weeks from now.
So the clock is ticking.
The clock is ticking, and maybe this is the right time to talk about what I had asked you to park earlier, because I get that often. I get that question often saying, oh, if I have to get approval from my bank, or if I have to get approval from my tech company, that itself is a 4-week process. So to them, I say that, so do your submission, submit it, make sure that you tell us that we are still awaiting final approval, and you will have that 4-week window where we are assessing your submission. You have that 4-week window to secure the approval. So if you remember, that was what I said, please park it for later.
You did. And a reminder to people how actually to submit. Where do I find the forms?
It's very simple. It's on the IBS Intelligence website. It will be very prominently on the front page. You will see nominate now. You click there, you get a SurveyMonkey form. It's, as I said, about 30 minutes. Take your time out, some contact information, basic contact information about yourself, your client, and a little more information, in-depth information about the actual implementation. You could also do a offline entry, and you can download the offline form again on our website, and you can email it to me at nikhilg@ibsintelligence.net.
And can I submit multiple entries if I've got multiple products that are worth submitting for?
Oh, absolutely. You should be, you doubling, tripling, quadrupling your chances of winning. Multiple entries are welcome. you just have to fill separate forms. If you're doing multiple entries, let's say, for example, you're doing one entry with one client, another entry with another client. But if you're entering, for example, if you're doing intelligent document management in trade finance, you can actually use the same entry to participate in two categories at the same time. So if you want to do multiple categories, that is allowed, uh, since it's a horizontal and vertical. And you are also allowed to do multiple entries itself. I hope I've confused you enough.
I'm sure it'll be clearer as people look at the website. And in fact, that's where you can find all the information about the awards, how to enter them, what you need to do to enter them, all on the website, www.ibsintelligence.com. Everything we have covered in the last half hour is all on the website. If you do decide to enter, good luck to you. If you decide not to enter, why? I think you should. Be proud of what you've done this year. It's been a fantastic year for FinTech, and we want to reflect that in the quality of our winners. Thank you very much for listening.
Robin, if I may, I just am just making sure that we do cover all the questions on the chat window, right? I'm looking at it, and we have a question here which says, our customer often prefer to remain anonymous. Is the application information kept private or fully disclosed? If you want your clients to remain anonymous, you would have to clearly mention that our client would want to remain anonymous. In that case, we will not disclose the information to anyone outside IBS Intelligence. You would need to provide the information about your client with us, and we have you mentioned that it is anonymous, and we will not disclose it to the world. But you will have to provide the information for the as a part of the submission process. I can see on the question here, the offline form, it's available on the website, or I can actually, as a part of, you probably have, I see that question from Arun Matthew. Arun, I can email that to you from my desk. It might just be easier.
And do we have any more questions? No, I think we've beaten them into submission, Nikhil.
Give them a couple of minutes, or I think we're good to go. Yeah, but again, I think I just want to say that if there are any questions, please email them to me. As I said, just repeating my email address, nikhilg@ibsintelligence.net, and we will get back to you within 24 hours. That's our promise.
And I think with that, we can draw matters to a close then. Thank you very much for your attention. If you've been one of our live listeners, I should also point out that if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, it's not live, but we will be repeating the program online. Thank you very much for your time, all. Thank you for your time, Nikhil.
Thank you. Looking forward.